There have been 22, coming up on 23 mainline Call of Duty releases. We've gone through multiple Modern Warfares, over a half dozen Black Ops titles, another round of Modern Warfares, and a bunch of offshoot games in between. But one universal truth is held through every single game. They all have a one-year life cycle sprinkled with post-launch DLC content, typically a way for the developers to release extra maps and weapons that they were working on through the game's development cycle. And in the case of Treyarch's Black Ops titles, these would include a few new multiplayer maps and one new Zombies map. Up until 2019's Modern Warfare reboot, these DLC releases were paid add-ons for each new Call of Duty release. If you remember back in the day, you'd pay about $15 per new DLC map pack, and these were released every couple of months through until the following fall, when the next year's new Call of Duty title was set to drop. 2019's Call of Duty launch, Activision switched this model to the now used Battle Pass and seasonal release content schedule. It gave us less content per launch, but more frequent drops and turning Call of Duty more into a live service title with weekly, monthly, and quarterly updates, albeit at a lower budget with less development resources due to them being entirely free. Now personally, I think the paid DLC era gave us the best quality post-launch content that we've ever gotten in Call of Duty's history. The new free DLC era, what I'd call the Battle Pass era of Call of Duty, has given us some pretty good content, so I can't bash it too much, even though what we've gotten has been relatively lower quality and lower budget. We've still gotten cool new Zombies maps, we've gotten great multiplayer remaster maps, we've gotten a ton of new weapons added to the game, new gobblegums and perks added to old Zombies maps due to the newer style of live service content delivery, and a ton more. In fact, some of the best content we've gotten in years has come in this new era of Call of Duty's DLCs and seasonal updates. Maps like Black Ops 6's Citadel Day More and Black Ops 7's Totenreich and Kawakujo, to name a few. But there really was a special era of DLC releases for Call of Duty where you were excited to go pick up either an Xbox Live points card or add funds to your PlayStation wallet, or even load up Steam and go buy the new upcoming DLC map pack. It was almost like these were new game launches in themselves. There was more hype and more build-up, because you waited months for new content to get added to the game. You didn't expect a Season 1 Reloaded update 2 weeks after the game came out. Updates that would add new fixes and weapon adjustments and balance patches and a ton new things. You bought the game in November and you waited until January for new content, and in between you enjoyed what came on disc. When that new DLC map pack came out, yeah, it meant you had to shell out $15, but you just upgraded your entire game. You feel like you just got Black Ops 2.5 added to your system. It was a whole event, and the community would speculate on these new launches, they would get excited about what was to come, and they would treat these launches like a whole spectacle. I remember being in school talking to my friends about what the Call of the Dead release would have been like, what the new George Romero enemy type was going to look like when we all loaded it up the next morning when it came out, or going up to a friend's house and playing Mob the Dead together on the day of release. DLC launches felt like more of a big deal back when we had a bit more investment in them, and it felt like the developers did too. And in my opinion, some of the most memorable DLC launches have come in Treyarch titles through the Black Ops games. They're often tied together with a couple great multiplayer additions to the game and a massive new Zombies map. For instance, Black Ops 1's Resurrection DLC, for the longest time one of the best-selling DLCs of all time, was an almost fully Zombies-themed DLC, which I would consider to be the first actual Zombies Chronicles. It was a remastered DLC map pack, one that came with Moon and classic beloved Zombies maps that often rank as one of the best of all time. 4 remasters from the previous game World at War: Nacht, Verrückt, Shino Numa, and Derice. Ported forward with some minor graphical improvements, new weapons from Black Ops 1, and extra wonder weapons added in the case of maps like Nacht and Verrückt. Now to be fair, these were also a pre-order bonus for Black Ops 1, but this was the first time the entire community could now play all of these maps plus get Moon at the same time. 5 Zombies maps in one DLC, a big event for the community. Moving on to Black Ops 2, its biggest DLC launch arguably was DLC Vengeance. This DLC map pack included Buried, which isn't exactly a massively groundbreaking map, but what came with it was a first for the Black Ops Zombies franchise. It added in a brand new wonder weapon that you could now access on every single map across Black Ops 2 Zombies, only for people that bought this DLC. If you were one of the people that bought the DLC map pack Vengeance, you got the Ray Gun Mark II, which would soon become the community's preferred version of the ray gun and one of the best wonder weapons in the entire game. And while there's an argument for DLC map packs that introduced maps like Mob of the Dead and Origins being the best from Black Ops 2, there was only one DLC that gave you content added to every single map in the game, plus gave you a fun and replayable, more casual-friendly new map. It was a DLC pack that was a no-brainer purchase, and it appealed to pretty much everybody, casual and more hardcore equally. But Black Ops 3 is where it got a little crazier. Black Ops 3, in my opinion, features the greatest DLC of all time, both the greatest Zombies DLC ever released, the best Call of Duty DLC map pack ever released, and statistically one of the greatest and best-selling pieces of DLC add-on content released for any video game ever. And of course, this DLC will be the focus of this video, and I think you can pretty much already predict where I'm headed here. The greatest Call of Duty DLC of all time is Black Ops 3's Zombies Chronicles. Now, Zombies Chronicles was the best-selling gaming DLC of all time. It's up there as one of the best post-launch pieces of content released in any video game ever. It rivals DLC launches like The Witcher 3's Blood and Wine. It rivals sales figures for new World of Warcraft expansion packs, and even newer gaming DLC releases that arguably hold up as standalone games in themselves. Things like Shadow of the Erd Tree for Elden Ring, and even DLC releases for Cyberpunk. And I know that's probably probably going to ruffle some feathers for fans of those games, but go look at the numbers. At the time of its launch, it was the best-selling add-on for any video game on the PlayStation Store. And while the data's not available for the Xbox Store or on Steam, it's safe to assume it sold pretty well on those platforms too. This DLC even spawned spin-off copies of Black Ops 3 entirely focused on the Zombies experience, which then themselves became the best-selling versions of the game post-launch, making Black Ops 3 the best way to experience every single fan-favorite Zombies map in all of Black Ops history, by buying either one of either the Black Ops 3 Zombies Chronicles edition or owning the base game of BO3 and picking up Zombies Chronicles as its own DLC add-on pack. Now, if you're not familiar with Zombies Chronicles or the Black Ops 3 DLC cycle, I'll break it down here. Call of Duty games usually launch in November, and then through until around September, just prior to the next year's title launch, would receive 4 paid DLC map packs. And it was always rumored year over year, kind of as a community tradition, that this would be the year we'd finally get a DLC 5, another extra bonus map pack just before the next game would come out. In Black Ops 3's case, we got the final DLC, including the grand finale map Revelations, in September. The game's lifecycle ended pretty quietly, and we rolled through November with a new COD launch as normal. 4 DLCs came out, we got 4 new maps, and the community moved on to Infinite Warfare and its Zombies maps like Zombies in Spaceland. A few months went by, rumors swirled that maybe we'd get another map pack like Resurrection from Black Ops 1, and that a 5th DLC was coming. Just trust me, because some data miners and leakers had found traces of code in the game's files referencing some old maps. But we went months with nothing, no hints from the developers, no indication that we'd be getting anything else. 2015/16's COD cycle was over, and Black Ops 3's life cycle was complete. Those bits of mined data and leftover files must just be exactly that, leftover from old games. Or so we thought. That was until a Latin American retailer blew the lid on Zombies Chronicles. Mid-2017, over halfway through Infinite Warfare's life cycle, a historically low-performing and poorly received new Call of Duty title, we got our first hint that Black Ops 3 was going to be brought back from the dead and its dev life cycle was to continue. And we as a community were all going off a grainy photo that I'll show here. An internal listing from a game store employee who showed a placeholder launch date and brief information about a brand new addition to Black Ops 3, a DLC called Zombies Chronicles. It actually wasn't until May of 2017 that we even got official confirmation that Zombies Chronicles was real from Treyarch and that it was coming. Jason Blundell, the creative director for Black Ops 3 Zombies and one of the studio co-heads of Treyarch, went on zombie YouTuber JC Backfire's channel and did a dramatic reveal of the brand new DLC, giving an insider scoop to the remastered and reimagined World at War, Black Ops 1, and Black Ops 2 maps that were being ported forward into Black Ops 3, reviving the Zombies community for another year mid-cycle through Infinity Ward's title year. All those years and all those rumors finally came true, and we were getting some of the greatest maps of all time brought forward into the most popular Call of Duty Zombies title that we'd ever received, right after experiencing the epic finale to the Ether storyline. Now, all in one place, you can experience the entire Ether storyline in one game, visually remastered with brand new mechanics, brand new weapons, and more. Zombies Chronicles gave us Nocturne and Toten, Verrucht, Shino Numa, Kino der Toten, Moon, Ascension, Shangri-La, and Origins, all in Black Ops 3. It bumped the map count up from 6 maps at the end of its life cycle to 14 maps. Black Ops 3 now had all of those remastered maps, plus its own original and remastered maps that came out during its life cycle, including Shadows of Evil, The Giant, Der Eisendrache, Zetsubo no Shima, Garad Krovi, and Revelations. It immediately cemented itself as the definitive Zombies experience. And for the first time in Call of Duty history, it revived a previous year's COD title. A new DLC was dropped for the previous year's game, something never done by Activision or any COD developer before. Numbers at the time estimated that roughly 500,000 players flocked back to Black Ops 3 to play maps like Kino der Toten again for the first time in 7 years. And it arguably led to Black Ops 3 being one of the best-selling Call of Duty games of all time, bumping its own sales numbers up to over 40 million copies and still counting to this day, something only done by a few other COD titles, mostly all launched after Black Ops 3. So it's safe to say that Zombies Chronicles was groundbreaking. It's arguably the best DLC ever released for Call of Duty, the most memorable, and the one that had the biggest impact on a Call of Duty title's player base and its longevity. It's the one that breathed life back into a game that was past the end of its normal dev cycle, and it came out just a few months after the launch of Black Ops 3's PC mod tools, which meant that all of these new assets, ported forward visually remastered textures and entities and weapons, and everything officially brought into the game by Chronicles was now accessible to the broader Zombies community, making custom maps more full and more inspired, and cementing Black Ops 3 as one of the most well-beloved, highest-played, and longest-living Call of Duty titles of all time. And the reason why I'm making this video is because it holds a truly special place in my heart. I was there for the launch of Zombies Chronicles. I remember digging through special playtest videos of Zombies YouTubers getting invited to Treyarch's offices to play it early. I slowed down and played frame-by-frame snippets of maps like Origins to see what they did and what these remasters looked like, and what to expect when the DLC finally dropped and I could get my own hands on it. It felt like the community was back again, unexpectedly, one that usually takes a couple-year break off and gets a bit quiet and lonely between each Treyarch COD release. Instead, everyone was back, ready for the summer of 2017 to play a ton more Zombies, relive old Easter eggs, queue up together together in public lobbies for the first time in months and just have a good time. There hasn't been another DLC release like it, and maybe that's due to the more frequent drip feed style of content releases that we get now with the seasonal release schedule and battle pass structure. Or maybe it's because Zombies Chronicles really was different, truly a DLC meant for the community with a lot of love and soul and a lot of heart put into it by the developers. And honestly, we as a Zombies community have been chasing that high for years after, hoping for a Zombies Chronicles 2. And maybe this is the year that we finally get it. Black Ops 7 does seem like the most likely place for us to get some of the maps from games like Cold War and Black Ops 6 brought forward. But maybe I'm just coping the same way we all did back in the days before Black Ops 3 Zombie Chronicles ever became a reality. It's nice to hope though, and now we have proof that it's possible and that Activision and Treyarch are willing to make a map pack like that. But what are your thoughts? Were you there for the Zombies Chronicles launch almost 10 years ago? Do you agree that it's one of the best Call of Duty DLC releases of all time and the best Zombies DLC we've ever gotten? Let me know your thoughts below. And if you like this style of video and want to see me do more of these, drop me a comment and a like, and maybe consider subscribing. It helps a ton. That's all I've got for now, and I'll see you in the next one.